Good morning, traders. Welcome to part 2 of the daily webinar. This part will have about cryptos and stocks and indices and all of that. So let's go. Let's start. We're in the Bitcoin and it's still in the consolidation. You're actually getting a running flat here. I think we can clearly see that. So what that tells me is this is going to drop one more. Now, the downside might not really be a big move because if this is a sharp move up, which means we will probably get a replay of this, a sharp move up there. That's a high probability. If they're which, you're probably going to come back down again. So you're pretty much in a big sideways move for me. And this seems to be the most corrective part of that entire sideways move. So which means upside is possible, downside is possible, upside is possible, and then drop lower before they go back up. Eventually, the bigger picture is upside. So as long as we haven't broken this low, any buy setup you get should be worth taking as well. Right? Because we're going to look at these patterns. So I think my traders could clearly see the running flat here. I think it's pretty much clear we can go with an argument that is, if that's a running flat, you get one more drop and then upside, you'll get a buy setup like this, right? The move there, go for that, take the buy setup. If we're wrong, it just continues to go up. If we're right, it will go back down, but you still get a very good trade. Ethereum, pretty much the same thing, same setup. You can literally see the flat here. It's coming up, which means one more down, but you also have this. So let's see the bigger picture in this on the 4 hour. Same here, you're in a big sideways move. This goes there, come back here. It has to go back here, make a flat, go back down. We still have this. So that means you're going to go back up, make another flat, go back down. And then we still have this. Go back there and drop one more before you go. So let's see the big picture. If all of that is to happen, then we're going to eventually retest this low. So if that continues the way we think it should, go up there, come back here, go back there, come back here, go back there, this should be a flat. And if that becomes a flat, then what is likely going to happen is you're going to retest this low before it goes back up. Now, here's my problem with this. This move down is really sharp. And if you get a really big flat like this in here, it doesn't really go with this being the final impulse to the downside. It's kind of even strange to think that it's the final impulse to the downside. So there's a really good probability we might be stuck in a bigger sideways move before this eventually makes a new high at some point in time. So what you have to do is trade within this range for a while and see what it does. Now, in very rare cases, we might consider whether this is a running flat. And if that is a running flat, then this doing all of this and breaking the low could trigger the upside. But again, if we get a big running flat in here, that becomes the most corrective part of it. So this hold down move is not really, it's not as sharp as this. It's not giving us any sign that it's completing some kind. It's just telling us there's a possibility this will be much longer. This sideways move will be much longer, maybe for years before it actually retests this top. But up and down is possible. So you can trade it up and down. Let's see how far they go and what patterns we get. You're getting a very nice sell setup very soon on this. XRP. Already the sells, you could see that one, you could see this one. It's probably going to give you another one here. What's the bigger picture? Yep, well, we did break that up. So if we make an assumption that they're doing this, right, they'll come back to the low. Again, this would be the big flat in the whole structure. If this turns out to be the big flat here in this piece with a 1, 2, 3 here, a big flat, and this actually goes down back for a 1, 2, 3 here, you still have that sharp wave to finish. And then one more down. So structurally, they're not taking off as we expect when this started, right? They're actually still consolidating. And if this becomes a big flat, pretty similar to this one, then we're going to be stuck in a sideways here, definitely. I think this one is already confirming that sideways because this is sharp and this is in no way the impulse to the downside. So even if this drop here and go back there and come here, makes this flat and then go there. Okay, good enough. Would it make another sharp move and another one down for a bigger flat here? That is also possible. And then go back up here for a running flat, after which we get this retest of the low and then go. So we might get a go at this to retest this top. but not after most of this happened, which means not within the very close timing happening, right? It could be a very long time before that happened. That doesn't stop you from trading, right? That should not stop you from trading, which means look for sell setups. Can this go retest the top of it again? Let's see. It could, but it's rare. You don't have a buy setup. You most likely have a sell setup forming here, right? This looks mostly like a flag. If it takes off to the upside really fast, well, you have to wait for it to go fast, make a flag, and then look for a buy. So right now it's more of a sell setup forming. And this one is, they all most of them, you will see similar structures in them, which means that we haven't broken this lowest yet. So this will probably make a running flat here, break the low, and then we'll see what happened. You had a running flat in this one. You could make an argument for this being a running flat. So we'll see what happens when that happens. You probably go up. I don't think this is going to take off. If it comes back, it will just come to this level and then drop again. So if you see a flag for a buy and you want to take it, it's only to that level. If it goes sharp and reverse, it's a good sell, short-term sell. Sells are very short-term. I think the same structure you're getting here, absolutely. So can we look at this as a 1, 2, 3? Or this is 1, 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3. This whole thing is a flat here, and then go back down. I don't like the buy setup on this, and the sell setup is useless. Because if this is the flat, then we're just going to drop slightly here and go back up for this sharp move. So neither is a good trade. Probably stay away from that consolidation for a while. Wait until they break this low, then look for a buy setup. This is pretty much the same thing. It's going down. You probably don't sell it until it breaks this low. When it breaks the low, look for a buy setup. And this is even worse. Right? You're going to expect this to go up, but do we have any buy setup anywhere? Not as yet. Right? Consider if this is a flat, and I think that's the flat. This was a flat. That's perfect. So you got a drop, you got a flat, you got a drop, you get a flat, and you're going down like this. At some point, one of this is going to make a flag at the top there, right? At some point, one of this will make a flag at the top there, and that's your buy setup. So let it keep doing this and wait for the flag, and then you buy. You can actually put an entry order above one of them, but I think that's a bigger risk. If you think it's going to take off suddenly, you know how we trade that, right? We treat this as a channel to the downside. This is channeling. And that means when they do break out of that channel, they're going to go very volatile. You can keep your entry order just about here. Now, especially if you were buying these without leverage or very low leverage, that's not a bad idea to do, right? Because you will get out of that trade for positive, and you might even get profit. Remember when it was in here, and we were saying I think traders were buying, and I was like, okay, you can buy all of these, but then put them to break even, because if it drops lower, you'll rather be buying from here rather than buying from in here, right? So if you close those trades, even when they came back here, you close them, and you can buy from here now. Now, because I think this would eventually do this, and it could be the start of the upside, especially if it doesn't retest the low, or it will be a flat, which means they come here and they make another one, right? The lower this comes, the lower this comes, the more I think it's a flat for this. Just like we were looking at this as a possible flat, to make one more low and then go. Now, if you buy here and you put that to break even and this comes back and take you out there, all you have to do is wait for it to break this low and buy back here. Even if you're long-term on these, right? Let's say you really want to keep it for long-term and you're buying, you can just exit the trade. And this is the advantage of wave analysis. You end up buying, instead of buying it for, I don't know, 35 or 40, 33 and hold it, you can now easily buy it for 24, right? 0.2, you were buying for 0.33, you can buy for 0.24. That's a huge advantage. And then if it drops beyond this low, you probably buy it at 0.19, 1.8. Wouldn't that be much better when the sharp move come, when that big move come eventually? And the big move will come because we're at the low, we know that, right? We know that this eventually goes back to that top, put it in daily. We're absolutely sure that when this is finished, we're coming back to the top there because of structurally the way it looks. So you can, rather than buy it and just hold it and relax, why not get it cheaper? Trade with it and get it cheaper. So it's a nice one, but you just have to be careful how you trade it. That's all. Forex, I think they will all have this similar structure. This is not going anywhere as well. This is kind of a consolidation, which eventually would drop. And the same thing you're getting here too. Right, this is more of a flat. This looks more upside right now, this piece here. Looks like they can make one more up, but it's more about this and then drop it. Right, so you can buy it, but then you'll have to put it to break even. The same thing should be here. This actually is making the running flat. So you should get one down, one up, give you that flat. A lot of them have that structure, come back down here, go back up there. This could be a standalone. It doesn't need to be go back up for that, but because I get this flat here, I'll probably put it as making a running flat and then one more drop before they go. So the upsides are not coming as fast as we thought it would come. It's much slower than that. This is going up, but the same thing. You can buy here, but when it breaks this top, put it to break even, because if they don't go like this, their chances are they can go back like that. See? Chances are this could be a flat that comes back here and then go, making this a bigger flat. So you might still be stuck in the correction zone for a while. Autumn. This one is already dropping and we're making a running flat here. So this should drop more to break this low. I think we were expecting that already. Yeah, break that low and then you look for your buy setup. Let it come and break this low. This will eventually come and break this low after that running flat. And then you're looking for this straight up. So if you get a buy from under this low here, perfect, buy it back to retest that top. That would be from somewhere around 20 to 40, 44. Good. If you buy 20 and you close at 40, you're doing well. Right. This one. Okay, you bought this. It's not going. You should have closed it to the top there. Based on our strategy, you close to the top there. You re-enter above the top. It's coming down. Okay, there might be a sell setup even here, but that's very short term again. What are the chances of this whole thing actually going up more? Well, it could still go. I don't really like the buy at the top here, so probably stay away from this. This would drop lower. We're still in a big sideways move here. It's going to drop lower, might even break this low. On the 1 hour, what's the trade? You're getting a sell setup. Same possible running flat here for a sell setup. Or they'll make a flag here and drop. This one is going up a little more. We'll probably see it come to this level, make a flat here and drop one more. I just pretty much like this one. You drop, you make a flat, you drop, you make a flat, you drop, and then probably upside for this piece. Right? And you're still in a sideways move. OMG, let's see this as. This is coming now already. You're going to have a correction here. Same you're doing, right? Kind of a flat. A correction there and then probably drop break the low. So it's going to go up a little, but then I'm expecting them to drop. If you get a flag above this top here, then you consider the buy. It has to give me a flag above that level, not in the level, inside of it. So I'm thinking this is going to come up here for a running flat, right? That's the thought process. If it's going to prove that it's not a running flat, but we're actually taking off, it has to make an impulse like this and a flag here. And now I'll consider that a buy setup. And Uni. I think we can clearly see that this is already going to do the same thing like most of them, make a running flat here, come back here, go back there, make a flat, drop again. Probably even going back up because you have a sharp one here too. So we're stuck in this sideways. But by the way, this one, you really want to keep your eyes on this one, right? Because the big picture is very good. Structurally, the big picture is really good, right? We know these patterns and we're very close to the low. Wherever that low is where? At this level, that's the low I have. I'm not assuming that that is a low. I don't know if it was a 0 at some point. All right, so I'm going to work with this piece. And this was a move up. Whether it came from lower doesn't matter. It's a move up. You got to drop, you get this, and you're starting to do this. I think we're going to make one more here and then drop. And once they drop to this level, which is around 5 or below, you can start to look for an up move that might do this. Retest that top. So if you can get it from 5 to 50, that'd be great. 5 to 40 would be great. 5 to 10 would be great. So it's a good trade setup to start to look for it once they break that low. And you can see the pattern. So you're going to get the advantage of an entry, a proper entry, get an advantage of exiting it if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, and re-enter lower. So would they break this low? I think absolutely, because this pulled back almost to the bottom and we're making a running flat here. Right, so you make a running flat there, you go back, you do this. You come here, you're likely going to pull back up. We can buy once they break the low, we buy. And if this doesn't take off, but it does this, make a running flat here and go down again, your buy here will be break even or in profit, depends on where you put the stop or how you exit. You could exit here if you see that turning point and put an entry above the top and then look for this to come back here and rebuy it again from the low. You don't have to necessarily hold the trade all the way to that point. You exit for some profit and you re-enter lower. That's a good trade. Right? So all of them, a lot of them have that structure. Keep your eyes on them. Let's see here, natural gas. Well, it's a sell. If you're in the trade, good, it's good. If you're not in the trade as yet, well, wait for a flag. There was a flag already for the sell. This was a sell as well. If you're in it, it's going to go a little more and then you can put the break even because there's a chance that a running flat is going to be happening because this is sharp up. So this could go back up. Oil. Okay, could this be the start of the big move to the downside? Well, it's consolidating. So good for us if it stays in this consolidation here, which means this stays somewhere here, go down back there, go up back like this and make this flat and likely a running flat, breaking this low, which means you can go for this sell if you get a sell setup from the top here on a lower time frame, going down, put it to positive. It starts to pull back, do this, make a running flat, go for that sell. So if we get a perfect running flat setup here, this would absolutely consider one more impulse to downside. Stay within this range, don't go back up, right? So keep your eyes on that. And same would be for the UK oil, US oil, right? All of them is the same thing, right? Depending on which one you want to trade. PayPal, it's consolidating. This would be a possible flat in the making, maybe running flat. This is the first piece that is corrective. Do this, go back here, go back there, make a flat, drop again. You know what to do, right? We have two pieces and that's all we have for now. So if you want to trade it, you know how you can trade it. If this goes lower, then we'll pull this one. As of now, it's still valid. Amazon, it's not going up as yet, so we'll have to be careful. We'll have to see whether it becomes a flag. If it drops again here, it's just going to break this low. I don't think it's going to drop totally to the downside, right? We're in this kind of a weird structure. Let's assume for a second that, well, this here was all the correction, and that was the top. Let's just assume for a second that this was some kind of a 1, 2, 3, and this was 1, 2, 3. This had a deep pullback in here, but then it made a top and they're coming down. Well, we have to see a complete flat pattern here. And if we see that, then this makes sense, right? That's not a bad one to exit. So the good question, I think, some Amazon traders actually I think Jeff Bezos closed some of his trades in there, sold some of his stocks in there, which makes sense. All right, wait for it to come back cheaper and then buy it back. US 30. Same thing, you're getting a sideways move here. Now we're looking at this over the week on Friday, expecting this to go back up. It's not going up as yet, but I think the more they do this, right, the more the probability is eventually you're going to go break the top, come back here. We're going to be stuck here because this is sharp. This is relatively sharp. So we're stuck in a sideways move. Big picture is downside. So I'd probably be looking more for sell setups rather than buy setups. Although I think this should go back and break the top and then look for the sell. If you get a sell setup here, you should take trade. Right? But I'm looking for this, expecting this to actually do this first, because I'm thinking this is a running flat. So I'm looking for this move up and then the downside. And let's go here. Again, the same thing here. If you get a sell setup here and it goes, take the trade. Because if this is it, I don't think this is it, but if that is it, and this is 1, 2, 3, good. But there's a good chance that this is it. And this just works its way up to the top there. What's the big picture? Well, if they consolidate in this range, it's a sell setup for sure, right? If this goes back to the top there and then come down, what we'll have is a flat in here with one more up and then a big drop. So it's a sell setup. And NASDAQ. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Well, this you could, same thing here. This is breaking out already. Go for the sell. Absolutely go for the sell. Because if this drop, it could drop, break this low and break this low and just drop one big move to the downside. This one doesn't need to go back up. It could, but it doesn't need to. Next. Okay, take this out. You're kind of consolidating at the top there, so we have to wait for it. Very short-term trades within this range is possible. Nifty is going back up. I hope you guys got in the buy, those who trade this, because we're anticipating this move up here and then the downside. So that's a good buy setup if you took the trade. And that's it. I think we just finished. We might have to reconsider some of those stocks. Look for stocks that are more, trending or something that gives you an advantage, or at a lower point where you can buy and hold for a longer term, and we can add them to it. Thank you very much. I would close the room and I would see all my traders back in the room in 5 minutes. We can go through some of the trades you guys are in, right? Immediately, not 5 minutes, immediately. I'll close them and see you in the room immediately.